Hello everyone, I want to share the story of my summer abroad. At the beginning of every school year, from the time I was 6 years old up until now, I've been asked the question, how was your summer break? A question that I never really cared to answer because I only went to the beach or read books from the summer reading list. But after all these years, I finally did something noteworthy and I feel like no one even asked me about it. So today, I'm going to share with you my story of what I did this summer in Malaysia as a marketing intern from America who has never traveled overseas before. My name is Brittany Rosario. I'm a student at Kennesaw State University and I'm studying English and Professional Communications. This was my first trip overseas, and boy was it a long one. But the Emirates crew made it worthwhile with amazing food, service, and complimentary alcohol. By the time I got off the plane, I had a full stomach and was just a little bit tipsy. I arrived in Malaysia late on a Friday night in June. My brother Xavier picked me up from the airport and greeted me with a warm smile and an excited hug. He was so happy to have me in Kuala Lumpur. We went out that night so my brother could show me what the nightlife was like. He treated me to drinks at his favorite local bars, and I got to see the KL Tower on our way up the street. The next day, I went to my first Malaysian Muslim military wedding. It was pretty fun. I got to try rose petal juice and take silly selfies with my brother's coworkers. On Monday, I started work. I was a little anxious and nervous, but still thrilled to have been there and be doing something productive. I didn't know how to get to work and I wasn't sure what to wear, so it took me a little longer than expected to get ready. My boss and the senior vice president of Portea Medical, Karen Anija, was my brother's roommate. How convenient. He was able to show me how to get to work as well as give me the rundown on his expectations of me for the summer. I'd say we were off to a good start. When we got to the office building, I took in all of the scenery. A fountain and trees right in front of the office before you walk inside. A beautiful sight that I got to see every single day. Our office wasn't a big one. We all had a shared workspace similar to the image you'll see. It took some getting used to because in America, everyone has their own workspace, unless they're an intern where they usually just get a desk near the person that they work for. But in Malaysia, a lot of people worked in close quarters like these. One of my favorite and most helpful coworkers was Fazreen. She helped me with learning and understanding the culture of how people do things in Malaysia. And she got me a cell phone to use for the summer. She was the nicest person at my job. By the end of the first week, I had spoken with India team members about branding, how or why we do things a certain way, and gathering marketing information and content for promotional campaigns that I had to do for my project to recreate an entire re-engagement plan for Portea Medical in Malaysia based on the India model. In the days to come, my brother took me to the Petronas Towers, also known as the Twin Towers of Malaysia, one of the top 5 tallest building structures in the world. I learned about architecture and got to see Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia from an almost bird's eye view. Then we went to Royal Selangor, a pewter museum in Malaysia, where I learned about the money tree and its ancient coin. I even bought my own money tree and got necklaces with the coin piece for my closest friends back home. My brother and I took a selfie with his friend Mary in front of the world's largest beer mug located at the museum. Yum. By the end of June, my brother was asking me where I wanted to travel to on that side of the world. The only place I could think of off the top of my head was from the images I saw of him on Facebook at a temple, and thought that that place would be out of this world because the picture looked so peaceful and I wanted to go there. In Indonesia, we stayed at the Phoenix Hotel. They had an amazing pool area that could be seen from the balcony of our room. My brother and I were millionaires for a day. The Borobudur Temples was absolutely breathtaking. Or maybe it was just because of the stairs. No, I'm just kidding. It was definitely breathtaking on its own, especially when you watch the sunrise through the clouds onto the face of Buddha. Now let's head into July, the month of too much fun. Another wedding, this time for my brother's friend Alan and his wife Helen. It was a beautiful occasion full of good drinks, delicious food, great music, and even better company. The bachelor party was pretty outrageous too. A night full of drinking alcohol, smoking cigars, and getting into questionable fun. The next week after was my 21st birthday. The night started with happy hour drinking at a local bar after work. I got this drink on the house because the bartender was practicing for a competition and made it for me special. I don't remember what's in it, but I know it tasted amazing. My brother reserved a table for us at the helipad lounge, but we were late coming from happy hour and lost our seats. It was okay. We still got a table and took pictures of the Petronas Towers at sunset. I got so drunk on my birthday that I was crying on the phone with my mother and my sister. I could barely walk straight and ended up throwing up in the bathroom of the hookah lounge. The next day, I was surprised that I didn't feel hungover. I did, however, have the actions of a hungover person when I threw up on the way to work and couldn't eat the whole day. After that, I took a few days over the weekend to relax at the mall by getting a fish pedicure. It was something different that I wanted to try since I had arrived there. Basically, you roll up your pants, rinse off your legs, and put your feet in the water. Then you spray on an enzyme to prevent infections from the microcuts that the fish may cause with their tiny little teeth and mouths. At first, it tickled, but it felt like little massagers vibrating all over my feet, and I ended up almost falling asleep. Now, imagine a mile-long beach full of people dancing, eating, drinking, and just enjoying life to the fullest, without any inhibitions or thoughts for consequences. More than likely, they're high on drugs or drunk on bucket mixes. This is what the full moon party was like in Thailand. My last trip of the summer was to Cambodia, where I partied on Pub Street. That's the inside joke with my brother. Basically, he got really wasted on Pub Street a year ago, and he loves it there. So when we went back to Cambodia, on the plane, on the way to the hotel, basically the whole weekend he just screamed, Pub Street! But yeah, anyway, we got back to see the temples of Angkor Wat. It was a sight to see for sure, along with the floating villages. We even fed a crocodile there. I really enjoyed Cambodia, and I would go back to live, work, retire. When I arrived back in Malaysia, I finally started to feel jet lag. All summer I didn't feel anything, but my last week I ended up taking more stay-at-home days than I expected due to internet access, moving from one apartment to the next, and then just being extremely tired. On my last day in Malaysia, my coworkers took me to the Magnum ice cream bar, similar to a Cold Stone Creamery shop. It had to be the best ice cream I've ever had in my life, though. After the dessert, we went back and had dinner. A little backwards, but still good. Then we went to my brother's apartment to talk about our times together, take selfies, and look back on the summer before saying our goodbyes. My flight was leaving around 2 in the morning, so I got back to the US the same day, but by 2 p.m. So traveling internationally can be a little trippy. Basically, I got to travel back in time and redo my whole day. I arrived back to the States the Thursday before the academic semester started for me. I was in New York for the weekend with my family, but I didn't really do much. I just kind of took naps and packed my suitcase for my flight back to Atlanta. I feel like I learned so much on this trip though, about traveling, culture, marketing, and the social differences between America and Southeast Asia. I came back with a newfound understanding of things, and I can honestly say that nothing was the same.